Tonight on CTV News, unusual charges.
How on earth was something this horrific allowed to happen in a BC hospital?
A woman charged with assault accused of breaking into the NICU at Surrey Memorial to pick up other people's babies. What we're learning about the suspect's criminal past.
Trying to find a path forward, trying to de-escalate tensions with our neighbors.
The Premier seems to be softening his stance on a new oil pipeline, what it would take for him to support the project.
What's the holdup? You know, like, we don't see things this often that are just win-win-wins.
Calls to replace injectable naloxone with a nasal spray. Why BC is lagging behind other provinces.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin with an update on a story we brought you last week. A woman accused of sneaking into the NICU at Surrey Memorial Hospital and holding vulnerable babies has now been charged. The opposition raised questions in the legislature about this troubling case. How could this happen? As CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports, a suspect has a criminal past.
How on earth was something this horrific allowed to happen in a BC hospital?
The BC NDP under fire Monday at the legislature, facing questions after alarming allegations involving vulnerable newborns at Surrey Memorial Hospital.
Nurses aren't safe, doctors aren't safe, patients aren't safe, and now even newborn babies aren't safe.
Police say on October 28th, a woman gained entry to the neonatal intensive care unit, removed her shirt, and made skin-to-skin contact with 3 babies, none of whom were injured.
Even the possibility that someone might be able to enter a unit like that and have contact with children, precious children, newborn children.
Monday, Surrey police announced that 35-year-old Lindsay Hurtrider has been charged with 3 counts of assault.
It's the last thing I think you want to see in any hospital type setting is someone who's potentially unauthorized gaining entry, whether it's to an infant neonatal care unit or any other type of specialized unit.
It's not Hurtrider's first run-in with the law. In 2016, she pleaded guilty to 1 count of animal cruelty after she stabbed and tortured a dog who had wandered from its home. She avoided jail time after the judge accepted her defense's argument that she was in a psychotic state at the time. Her arrest on these new charges comes just days after police asked for help identifying her.
Investigators working with hospital staff have been able to put together a bit of a timeline. That is now evidence that's before the courts.
The health minister feels there's proper security in place, calling this incident a learning experience.
I know that Fraser Health will continue to look at this, to take everything that they can to learn from this. They have already updated their security protocols and procedures.
Hurtrider has remained in custody since her arrest. She's scheduled to appear in court Tuesday afternoon for a bail hearing. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
After weeks of slamming the idea of another oil pipeline, David Eby's position appears to be changing. The Premier now says he's open to a new one with one major condition. CTV's Rob Buffum explains.
Premier Eby has forcefully pushed back on a new pipeline as recently as last Thursday, the day a deal paving the way for one to BC's coast was signed by Alberta and Ottawa.
No proponent, no route, no money, no First Nation support.
He seemingly has softened his stance, telling CTV's Question Period in an interview that aired Sunday, although he maintains his opposition to lifting the tanker ban on the North Coast, a new pipeline, something that could hypothetically go to Vancouver like the existing Trans Mountain, wasn't off the table.
If we can agree that the oil tanker ban is going to stay in place, then let's have those conversations. I think that would make life a lot better and easier in British Columbia in terms of our relationship with coastal First Nations, and we definitely take down the temperature.
The opposition Conservatives predicted 10 days ago Eby would flip-flop on the pipeline.
Or save everybody a heck of a lot of time. Just admit that we need a northern pipeline, we need the tanker ban removed, and save the next 2 weeks of theater and just say he actually agrees with it.
While Eby maintains his opposition to the tanker ban and has not agreed to a pipeline, his position appears to have warmed. triggering an I told you so.
Here we are 10 days later, and all of a sudden he's starting to support the idea of a new pipeline.
Meanwhile, Alberta's Premier Smith continues her advocacy for the pipeline to go out of the North Coast, a route that would require an exemption to the tanker ban.
I think we need to have a bit more of an open mind about Port of Prince Rupert. If you look at where it is on the map, it's a deep water port.
The BC Greens say any pipeline is not okay with them and could put its agreement of support with the NDP in doubt if EB's government ultimately supports one.
It's a bridge we'll have to cross when we get there, but it certainly puts a big hamper on carrying on with Carga.
That bridge to a new pipeline, perhaps in the Lower Mainland, suddenly seems more tolerable to the NDP than ever before.
And Rob joins us live from Victoria. Rob, there is a new poll out today about the impact of this pipeline memorandum of understanding on British Columbians and Albertans. So what does it say?
Well, Mijung, Angus Reid had a poll out today that looked at the impact on Mark Carney's support, and interestingly, his approval, the Prime Minister's approval, remains stable at 52% both in BC and nationally, and it got a bump of 3% up to 45% in Alberta. It gets a little more complicated under the surface, though, because then when they looked at voter intention, the Liberals' voter intention in BC has actually dropped by 5%, with those voters splitting both to the right and the left. So you can bet all these parties, whether it's nationally or here in BC, the NDP will be doing a fair bit of polling. A poll out last week from Angus Reid showed that a majority of British Columbians did support the idea or were open to the idea of a pipeline. Mijun.
Rob Buffum reporting live from the legislature. A fatal shooting in Surrey over the weekend is believed to be targeted and likely tied to organized crime. Officers were called to the scene near 152nd Street and 104 Avenue around 11:40 Friday night, where they found a man with gunshot wounds. A burning pickup truck was found nearby shortly after. The victim later died of his injuries, with investigators today identifying him as 26-year-old Chilliwack resident Jazz Karen Beering. Investigators say Beering was known to them and is believed to have been involved in the drug trade. We're still 10 months away from the next municipal election, but some candidates are already making early campaign runs and promises. As CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, a new poll suggests public safety is top of mind for many British Columbians.
In a restaurant in East Vancouver, the city's latest political hopeful announces her bid.
I am running to be the mayor of Vancouver.
The municipal election is next October, but candidates are already campaigning.
People in Vancouver are losing trust in City Hall. What will it take to bring that trust back?
Building that trust suggests they'll need a strong stance on safety. A new poll finds satisfaction is low when it comes to how local governments address crime and public safety.
If we actually invested in prevention, intervention, in treatment, in raising incomes, then we would naturally see the type of public disorder that we see right now go down.
Elder care programs, youth care programs, housing, all these things make our communities safer. Even, looking at climate change, we have to keep investing in those services that make our communities vibrant and safer, as well as the police.
Current Mayor Ken Sim, who promoted public safety in his successful bid, is running again. His former campaign manager and now opponent says he'll clamp down on money laundering.
We know that the province of BC currently has 2 civil forfeiture cases against the Sinaloa drug cartel, but we need more. We need more focus on the proceeds of crime. That's the issue. That's what's causing all the street havoc. That's what's causing the toxic drug crisis.
In Surrey, Mayor Brenda Locke is running again. She'll face current City Councillor Linda Annis, who says she'll hire 300 new police officers over 4 years if elected mayor.
I want a very visible police presence in our city, both for our residents and even more for our criminals. I want every criminal to know they are not welcome here in Surrey.
In 10 months, candidates will know whether their ideas resonated or fell flat with voters. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Most Canadians have free access to a overdose antidote, but we don't here in BC. The frontline healthcare workers urging the EB government to do the same, and why the minister is feeling some heat. That story's just ahead. But first, let's go outside to Robson Street. You're looking at a live shot. 6:09, the light's looking good. The road looks a little wet, and we were all talking about how cold it was this afternoon. It almost felt like it could snow.
It did snow in White Rock.
Okay.
Yeah, light flurries fell in White Rock. There was some rain-snow mix out in Surrey as well. And on the mountains, we've seen snow. So, yeah, very cold out there right now. This is what it looks like across the lower mainland. 4 degrees at the harbor as well as in Burnaby. You're looking at 3 degrees right now in Surrey, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. So as we head through the overnight, some light drizzle dropping down to 3. Into tomorrow, we'll start off cloudy with a slight chance of an early morning shower, but then it clears up quite nicely. We'll enjoy a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 7.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And make the most of the sunshine because it won't last very long. I've got your full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Anne. Well, most Canadians have free access to an easy-to-use overdose antidote, but not in BC. The provincial government has been dragging its heels on a decision about nasal naloxone. Frontline healthcare workers point out it is the easiest way to save lives during a toxic drug crisis, and it appears the minister is feeling some heat. CTV's Penny Daflos explains.
Naloxone kits have become a familiar sight across British Columbia, but the free injectable overdose antidote requires training and isn't always easy to use in an emergency.
Maybe it's your loved one and you're shaking. To make it easier for someone just to use the nasal naloxone, we should be making this a priority.
There's almost no training costs, and any layperson can use it.
BC began a pilot project a year ago, but government hasn't taken next steps. Now frontline healthcare providers are urging the province to follow Ontario and Quebec and make nasal Narcan free.
What's the holdup? We don't see things this often that are just win-win-wins. You know, there's always, issues with delivery or training. This seems to be one of those things where other provinces have really invested in this because they've seen the benefit.
Anything that increases the likelihood of somebody carrying a naloxone kit, of being prepared to use it, of having the confidence to use it when an actual emergency arises. I don't think there's anybody on any end of the political spectrum who would be opposed.
After the accidental death of a student, UVic installed inhalable kits in student residences. With 1 in 5 toxic drug deaths among construction workers, the industry is asking for the same at BC work sites, joining other longtime advocates.
That's what is available in Ontario and Quebec, so I think BC should be looking at those provinces.
In Ontario, transit stations and even some libraries hand them out freely.
We don't ask to see any ID. We don't ask for a library card.
And researchers at the University of Waterloo concluded
the nasal spray, even though it is a little bit more expensive, it still is cost effective.
I'll have more to say about that soon. We want to make sure that it gets into the hands of the people who need it most.
When pressed as to why it's taking so long to decide, the health minister said
is a really important harm reduction tool, again, that saves people's lives, and I'll have more to say about it soon.
Injectable kits expire after 2 years, while the inhalable form is good for 4. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
From doctors and healthcare workers to students and drug users, hundreds of British Columbians are taking a stand against the province's plan to expand involuntary treatment.
We will continue to fight for health systems rooted in compassion, healing, and justice. Today, we will be mailing the list of 300 healthcare workers who have signed the petition.
That petition is part of a refusal campaign launched this morning outside Vancouver Coastal Health's headquarters. Nearly 300 people, including more than 40 doctors and 50 nurses, are pledging not to enforce the proposed changes to BC's Mental Health Act. If passed, they would give healthcare workers and police more power to detain and medicate people with severe mental illness without consent. Some important milestones are coming up in the countdown to the World Cup. We'll fill you in on the details. And with holiday travel ramping up, Vancouver International Airport shows us their new machines that will make it faster to get through security. What their plan is for the first snowfall of the year when CTV News continues. Stay with us. A heads up for drivers. The Patullo Bridge will be closed southbound for another night as work continues on the replacement project. Overnight closures are in effect tonight between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. This comes after 3 nights of work over the weekend, with crews securing new overhead directional traffic signs on King George Boulevard. Northbound travel will not be affected. As the winter holiday travel season ramps up at YVR, the airport is showing off its snow removal equipment and some new technology that should make going through security and boarding the plane faster and easier. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
YVR wants passengers feeling festive, ringing in the month of December with live music and decorations throughout the terminals. But staff here know nothing ruins a holiday faster than lineups and flight delays.
We are putting a lot and invested a lot in winter readiness across the airport.
In August, staff began training on 40 different pieces of snow removal equipment designed to keep YVR moving during a large snowstorm, like the one that paralyzed the airport during Christmas break 3 years ago.
Winter 2022 was not the best 4 days that we've had here, but we've invested a considerable amount of money and time, and we've got more teams, more equipment and more rehearsals going on to ensure that we can manage that flow and keep that customer experience going.
Inside the airport, a second YVR security checkpoint has been equipped with new X-ray machines that will enable passengers to leave all their electronics and gels and liquids inside their carry-on luggage while those bags are scanned.
There'll be less secondary searches, so that's when you get called aside once you've gone through the walkthrough and they have to search the bags. That's going to happen much less because the image they're getting from the X-ray unit is going to be that much better.
Another time saver, additional gates will now have biometric readers that use facial recognition to scan passengers as they're boarding the plane.
It just takes a picture of your face, maps it and recognizes it, and it opens the gate for you. So you don't have to get your phone out, you don't have to get your boarding pass out, your passport, all of that check is done for you, so you're free, hands-free pretty much when you go through the process.
There's new de-icing technology too. Some of Aeromag's fleet has gone electric.
We have 6 of them. They're the E-betas, or electronic beta. They can de-ice for most of the morning on that battery power alone, and then it will switch to a hybrid system to kick in the diesel engine.
While YVR doesn't get as much snow as many other Canadian airports.
When it snows a lot, and it's heavy and it's wet, and it's really challenging to move, and it's really challenging to blow.
Management here believe this holiday season, they're up to the challenge whenever that first snowfall hits. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
The latest hunger report from Food Banks BC paints a troubling picture as the holidays approach.
What we're seeing here is yet another year of record-breaking demand for services. There are more people turning to food banks now than at any other point in the history of food banks in BC. And right now, there's nothing to indicate that this is, really going to slow down.
The report shows food bank use is up 9% this year, and the number of visits has increased by 79% since 2019. Food Banks BC represents more than 100 hunger relief agencies and says nearly a third of its clients are kids. The organization is calling on the province to address the root problems of food insecurity, which is now impacting 1 in 4 British Columbians. Richmond RCMP's 11th annual toy drive has wrapped up, raising a record-breaking $33,000 and collecting roughly 1,500 pounds of toys. The event took place at Lansdowne Centre on November 22nd in support of the Richmond Christmas Fund, which provides holiday assistance to local families in need. Organizers say the overwhelming response from this year's event reflects the community's spirit of giving. Healthcare teams across BC are getting a special thank you this holiday season for making organ donation and transplants possible.
How do you thank the staff and all the people that are on this journey of transplant with us and thank them appropriately? You just can't, but the popcorn's a small token of appreciation.
Volunteers with BC Transplant will deliver more than 5,000 festive popcorn packages to hospitals province-wide as part of Operation Popcorn. The campaign is kicking off at a celebratory time. BC Transplant says more than 12,000 British Columbians registered to be organ donors last month, thanks to a new partnership with the CRA. Prime Minister Mark Carney shuffles his cabinet and adds a familiar face to his inner circle. Also ahead.
I would say that probably more than half of our membership
actively support the idea of an independent Alberta.
How the Alberta Premier is responding to calls for separation within her party. Now a push to have MLAs vote on it. That's ahead. A shakeup on Parliament Hill today as Prime Minister Mark Carney shuffled his cabinet, and a familiar face from the Justin Trudeau era is back. Mark Miller, longtime Trudeau minister and personal friend of the former Prime Minister, has returned to cabinet. Miller last served as Minister of Immigration under Trudeau. He's taking over Stephen Guilbeault's identity, culture, and official languages portfolio in a mini shuffle forced on the PM after Guilbeault quit cabinet over a pipeline deal with Alberta. Miller says he's looking forward to the opportunity to do more for the country.
So it feels great. I am a guy that likes to be busy, and so, I was a little restless, but it's nice to get the opportunity to keep on doing some amazing work and contributing to Canada, like for the reasons that I got into politics, because I love my country.
Carney made two other changes to his cabinet. Environment and Climate Change Minister Julie DeBrusen will assume the Nature and Parks Canada file, while Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement Joelle Lightbound will now also take on the role of Quebec Lieutenant. Will Alberta remain in Canada or seek independence? That question dominated the United Conservative Party's annual meeting. And as CTV's Kevin Green explains, the Premier is struggling to convince her own party that staying in Canada is the right move.
A standing ovation for Premier Smith Monday from energy contractors happy with the recent memorandum of agreement with Ottawa, a far cry from the reception it got from members of her own party at the weekend AGM.
I hope people today feel a lot more confident that Canada works than they did a couple of days ago.
In fact, the biggest cheers at the convention went to Alberta separatists, which the party president says now make up the majority of UCP members.
I would say that probably more than half of our membership actively support the idea of an independent Alberta.
The Premier doesn't buy that.
Is your party now a separatist party?
No.
Danielle Smith says there's a place in her mind for Alberta inside Confederation, but admits it's not an easy sell to some in her party.
I've always said my job is to tell people that Canada works and show them that it works, and to get more people to understand that we can have our own sovereign areas of jurisdiction within a united Canada. So I got a little more work to do.
Political scientist Dwayne Bratt says Smith is trying to play both sides, but that can't last.
He keeps using the phrase sovereign Alberta in a united Canada because that seems to appeal to both sides. But at a certain point, she's going to have to pick a side.
That could come sooner than she wanted. Monday, Elections Alberta said the Forever Canadian petition is certified. Its founder wants it to force a vote in the legislature. The Justice Minister says Cabinet will meet to plan next steps, but Thomas Lukaszuk expects Smith will push it to a referendum to appease her independent swing.
Now she has to save her political hide and give them a referendum, but she can only blame it on herself.
Smith is being squeezed on both sides of the separation question. The leader of the Alberta Republican Party says if Smith doesn't stand up in the legislature and say she supports the majority of her party wanting to separate, she should say she's quitting.
I think if you're the leader of a party and you don't identify with the clear majority of what your membership is aligned with, then maybe you're leading the wrong parade.
Costco is suing the Trump administration over tariffs. The retail giant is the latest company to file a lawsuit against a federal agency over the U.S. president's signature economic policy. In the lawsuit filed on Friday, Costco says it is seeking a full refund of all tariffs collected under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a result of Trump's executive order which imposed what he called reciprocal tariffs. The legality of Trump's sweeping tariff agenda is currently under review by the Supreme Court. An Ontario woman was stunned when she was thrown in a jail cell for a damaged passport. We'll tell you where it happened, also ahead. We'll be right back. December 1st means it's time to tuck into those advent calendars, even for residents of London Zoo. A waddle of Humboldt penguins kicked off the holiday season with fishy treats hidden inside a special advent calendar. They're the first mammals at the zoo to enjoy the festive surprise. London Zoo says the tradition is a fun way to spread holiday cheer while raising awareness about conservation. Humboldt penguins are a vulnerable species native to Chile and Peru. I guess they can't open an advent calendar in the traditional sense of the calendar.
No, but it looks cute right there, and then they just get fed their little fishies.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they love it. Yeah, what's there not to like if you're a Humboldt penguin, right?
Exactly. All right, let's take a look at our forecast now. Today and this month, not too bad at all. Here's a look at November, since today is December 1st. This is how the month fared. On average, you saw a high of 10.8 degrees above the seasonal average of 9.3. It was warmer through the overnights as well, with an average low of 4.9 degrees. Below seasonal rainfall, we saw 101.5 millimeters of rain, the monthly average of 171.2 millimeters of rain. We do have a frontal system pushing its way through the central interior, as you can see in blues, bringing in some heavy snowfall. So there is a snowfall warning in effect. That is for the Cariboo region as well as the Thompson Okanagan, 10 to 15 centimeters through this evening before it eases off. Freezing rain statement in place for the North Cariboo region and Chilcotin through the overnight as things taper off as well. For us, we're seeing overcast skies right now, but we will see the rain return in the next couple of hours, but drying up through the overnight into tomorrow morning, and then slowly but surely it clears up quite nicely. We'll enjoy some sunshine as we head into tomorrow evening. For the North Island, you're looking at a wet start, but it does clear up quite nicely for Port Hardy. 9 degrees, light snow for the northeast corner of the province. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. You're looking at sunny breaks for Campbell River and Comox with highs to 7 degrees. For the South Island, lots of sunshine for Tofino at 9. Cloudy skies for Port Alberni at 5. You'll see showers for Nanaimo. Early morning rain for Southern Gulf Islands before it clears out of the way. Victoria, you'll see 8 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Partly cloudy conditions for the Sunshine Coast with a high of 6. Up the Sea to Sky Highway, you'll start off with showers. It does clear up quite nicely with a high of 5. Whistler, 3 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. And across the lower mainland, early morning showers possible. Cloudy skies clearing up with a high of 7 across the board. It does cloud over on Wednesday, cooling down to 6. Rain returns on Thursday and Friday, easing on Saturday with cloudy skies and showers. Wet to start off the day on Sunday before it clears out of the way. And then on Monday, steady rain returns, but it'll be warmer with a high of 10. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Well, this week, CTV is kicking off the holidays with our favorite event, Toy Mountain. Join us this Thursday and Friday at Guildford Town Centre as we collect new unwrapped toys and donations in support of the Lower Mainland Christmas Bureau. Or you can donate online at ctvvancouver.ca. Let's build a mountain and put smiles on a whole lot of faces for the holidays. Toy Mountain is made possible by our friends at Alpine Credits, Applewood, Auto Group, and Triple O. So I'll be there both Thursday and Friday. Hope everybody can join us.
Yeah, it's always fun to just see people coming by with gifts, and that mountain
keeps on growing.
2 days is pretty impressive. So hope you can come down and contribute.
Yeah, come say hi.
All right, thanks, Ann. A travel nightmare when a woman was thrown into detention because of a damaged passport, where the Ontario woman says she was treated like a criminal. Also ahead.
The best collective they've had that advances to MLS Cup for the first time.
The Vancouver Whitecaps are 1 win away from being MLS champions. How they're preparing for their biggest test against Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. That's ahead. Look at today's markets. The Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up 77 cents, closing the day at $59.32 a barrel. Gold gained nearly $20 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones were both down 281 points and 427 points, respectively. Today is Cyber Monday, a day when many people turn to their devices to shop online for Christmas deals. And that has prompted Consumer Protection BC to put out a warning to know your rights when buying online. The government agency says using a credit card will give you the most protection under BC's consumer protection laws if something goes wrong. It warns that before hitting confirm on an online purchase, be sure to review and correct any mistakes in the order, such as the price you're paying for products and shipping costs. Consumer Protection BC says it's also important to understand the retailer's cancellation, return, or exchange policies in case your purchase never arrives.
First step is to contact the business and try and work it out with them. We have resources on our website so that you can actually officially cancel your order with the business if you haven't received it within 30 days of when they said they were going to send it to you. If that doesn't work, we encourage you to contact your credit card provider to request a chargeback. But if the business and the credit card provider both say no, that they're not going to help you get a refund, they may be in breach of our laws, and Consumer Protection BC definitely wants to hear about that.
Consumer Protection BC says it will work with consumers to navigate the often complicated process of a refund if the law has been breached. Health officials are urging families not to buy e-scooters this holiday season for anyone under the age of 16. Vancouver Coastal Health says non-motorized options like bikes and kick scooters are safer for kids. It says e-scooters are heavier, faster, and come with higher risks of falls and head injuries. National data shows e-scooter injuries are rising, with a 22% increase in hospitalizations and a 61% jump among kids 5 to 16. Are you planning to take a trip out of the country anytime soon? If so, when's the last time you checked your passport? A woman says she was detained and refused entry to Costa Rica after her dog chewed up her passport. CTV's Pat Foran has that story.
I think we caught somebody at the table that had a bad day and wanted to prove something.
Andy Field and Jason Tate of Georgetown went to Costa Rica in mid-November to celebrate an anniversary. Field says her puppy chewed the corner of her passport, but that she's used it to travel to other countries without issue.
It's barely like this much off the corner of it. I tried to take it to Service Canada, and they actually told me it wasn't damaged enough to be replaced. So I've had it for 5 years. We've traveled to 7 different countries with it.
But when she landed at the Liberia airport in Costa Rica, a staff member said her passport was too damaged to enter the country. She was held in detention for 24 hours and told she would have to fly home.
He was allowed in the country. I was not. So he was actually escorted to the exit and told to figure it out. And I was taken into a detention cell.
Tate says they tried to stay positive, but the situation escalated quickly.
They brick-walled us every single time we tried to talk to them or communicate with them.
He ended up staying in a nearby hotel. The couple bought return tickets to Toronto, but then were not allowed to board the plane. They had to buy 2 more tickets the next day.
They processed me like a criminal. Like, they took all of my information. They asked for my saliva.
Rips, tears, water damage, those are all typical things that technically you're not supposed to have. I mean, you might get lucky and someone might not question you, but the problem is you might get unlucky and someone will.
Travel expert Lauren Christie says it's better to be safe than sorry and always replace a damaged passport.
And don't check it the day of. Check it a couple of weeks ahead of time so you have a chance to rectify the situation if you need to.
The couple planned to spend about $2,000, but had to pay about $8,000 for the last-minute flights and other expenses. Field plans to get a new passport, but won't be heading back to Costa Rica.
I feel like I've been stripped of like all of my security and confidence to travel, and now I have zero confidence in traveling anywhere.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Air Transat is preparing to begin its first ever nonstop flights to Rio de Janeiro. And starting February 4th, there will be twice weekly flights from Toronto to the Brazilian city. The travel company has also announced a partnership with Brazil's Gol Airlines. It's intended to allow passengers flying with Air Transat to Rio to seamlessly connect to Gol's network of 65 domestic and 17 international destinations. Those who do make the trip to Rio this winter can check out this floating tree that was installed yesterday. It marks the opening of the first edition of Christmas in Rio. The structure is 80 meters high and is illuminated by more than 2 million LEDs. More than 650,000 people are expected to visit the tree throughout the holiday season. Now to breaking news. A jury has convicted a man of killing an innocent teenager and a rival gangster during a shootout in Vancouver more than 7 years ago. CTV's Craig Krause is following this in the Breaking News Center. Craig?
Well, Mijung, we have just learned that Kane Carter was found guilty by the jury, so we have a little bit of information here that we'll dive into. So this comes on the 5th day of deliberations. Carter was accused of killing 15-year-old Alfred Wong, an innocent bystander, and 23-year-old Kevin Whiteside, who police say was involved in gang conflict. Alfred was killed by a stray bullet while he was in the back seat of his parents' car. And again, this story is developing, Mijung. We will bring you the latest throughout the evening. Mijung?
Yes, and we know that this was the second trial for Kane Carter. We'll have more details as they become available. Still ahead tonight, unfinished business. The Vancouver Whitecaps on the verge of their first ever MLS Cup with only Lionel Messi and Inter Miami in their way. A look ahead to the big match. Plus, Poot helps. Adam finds out how a dog in a wheelchair formed an unexpected friendship at her owner's work. Coming up on the Sawatsky Signoff. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
The Whistler Film Festival kicks off this week. Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, George Strombolopoulos joins us to talk film and culture. Plus, holiday shopping, but make it weird. From spooky gifts to punk pastries, the Weirdos Holiday Market returns for 2 wild weekends. We'll see you in the morning.
FIFA is going to reveal the updated match schedule for next summer's World Cup in a live global broadcast on Saturday. Vancouver's hosting 7 games. Next weekend's show from Washington will confirm venues and kickoff times for all 104 tournament matches. FIFA says the post-draw game allocation process is meant to create optimal conditions for players and fans, and where possible, allow viewing across multiple time zones. On Friday, a draw will determine the World Cup's 12 groups of 4. And this is where Canada's Olympic and Paralympic hockey teams will play some of their games during the Olympics in February. We learned today there will be test events at the venue in Milan next month. The ice will be tested, as well as ensuring facilities for spectators are functioning properly. Olympic organizers are racing to complete the rink in time for the games. The NFL has announced the performers for the Super Bowl pregame show in Santa Clara, California on February 8th. Brandi Carlile is set to sing America the Beautiful. 4-time Grammy-nominated singer Charlie Puth will also hit the stage to deliver the national anthem. And Grammy-winning R&B star and actor Coco Jones will perform the song Lift Every Voice and Sing. After a massive win on the weekend, the Vancouver Whitecaps will take on superstar Lionel Messi and his Inter Miami squad in the championship match this weekend. Local fans can join a watch party planned for BC Place. And some there may remember the last time the Whitecaps were seeking a North American title. CTV's Ben Milger reports.
Ali Ahmed. That's a beautiful move on Pilcher. Ahmed continues on, works it across, and it's in the back of the net again.
When Ali Ahmed turned his man inside out, setting up Brian White to put the Vancouver Whitecaps up 3-0 in the first half of the Western Conference Final, Caps fans could sense something bigger afoot.
That 100% clenched it. My God, it went in, and that I think at that moment everyone knew we were we are through.
Vancouver's 3-1 victory sets up a dream MLS Cup final against global superstar Lionel Messi's Inter Miami squad. The Caps have their own highly decorated legend in Thomas Muller, a man whose German side got the best of Messi and Argentina in the 2014 World Cup final.
I know about my games against Messi, but I also lost against him, and it's not about Messi against Thomas Muller, it's Miami against the Whitecaps.
In 1979, a previous version of the Whitecaps won the NASL Soccer Bowl, returning to a hero's welcome in Vancouver with an estimated 100,000 people showing up for the parade. Sports fans in the city haven't experienced another North American championship in the 46 years since.
If we do clinch that title, we have that parade. The city's electric, and really hope we can keep building it as a soccer community here in Vancouver.
It will take a sublime performance on Saturday for the Whitecaps to beat a heavily favored Miami squad, stacked with stars beyond Messi and playing in front of a home crowd. Riding the high of this playoff run, the Caps will again count on Muller to lead in the most consequential game of the club's MLS era.
It's our biggest achievement, but the boys are calm. The boys are calm. We know that there's one more step to go, and that's a really good feeling.
If they can win just one more match, this version of the Whitecaps will surely deserve a hero's welcome of their own. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Oh, it's too bad the game isn't in Vancouver, right? That's disappointing. And I bet a lot of people don't remember or know that in 1979, the Whitecaps won the North American Soccer League Championship.
Did not know that.
Right? There was a parade on Robson Street and everything, and the New York broadcasters called Vancouver the Village of Vancouver. So it was quite the scandal back then.
How embarrassing.
Okay, well, the Vancouver Island marmot is making a comeback. Conservationists say there are now 427 living in the wild, a major milestone for a species once on the brink of extinction.
The perspective that we try and take is, when we started this program, we could find 22. That was how many marmots we had left in the wild. The early recovery plans that were drafted, 400 was the dream.
The Marmot Recovery Foundation says it took more than 2 decades to reach the 400 milestone, a captive breeding program done in collaboration with the Calgary and Toronto zoos has been key for population growth. Experts say without these efforts, the species would likely be extinct. Oh, they're too cute to be extinct.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but great news that their numbers have made such a comeback. Okay, we'll get to the Sawatsky Signoff in just a moment. First, Craig, what's coming up tonight?
Well, Jung, we will dive into a drug policy roundtable that took place in Vancouver today. Local politicians are demanding changes and more data-driven approaches. Also, though, our Brianne Foley is following the guilty verdict in the King Carter murder trial. That just came down. This was the 5th day of deliberations. We have also learned that he was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder. And as we know, this comes after Carter was accused of killing 15-year-old Alfred Wong, an innocent bystander, and 23-year-old Kevin Whiteside, who police say was involved in gang conflict. We'll have all of this and more tonight at 11:30.
Yeah, it's been a long saga for the Wong family. Okay, thanks a lot, Craig. Finally, Adam introduces us to a 4-legged friend who is rolling straight into people's hearts and changing her community along the way on tonight's Sawatsky Signoff.
Chelsea Cullahall never expected to have a canine as a co-worker named Hoot.
She has been probably one of our best employees.
But then again, Chelsea never expected the boundless dog she adopted to start losing control of her legs.
It was super scary.
It was a debilitating neurological condition that requires Hoot to wear a wheelchair so she can still be fast,
very energetic,
and furiously affectionate.
Very loving and cuddly.
And now that Hoot works with Chelsea at a day program for people with developmental disabilities, very popular.
Every time I walk in a room, it's, "Hi, Hoot." Oh, yeah, and Chelsea. You're here, too.
But no one is more pleased to see the pup than Edwin.
He instantly liked her. Over a short amount of time, he started to love her.
And their love language...
Is she your favorite?
...is spoken through gestures.
Who's on your hat?
It's Tootie.
And if actions speak louder than words, when Edwin says Hootie's on his hat before showing you that Hootie is also on his keychain, on his lunch bag, and over the holidays says that Hootie is on his sweater too, it's very clear how he feels about his furry friend.
He just likes being around her, and she likes being around him. It's just sort of this gentle, caring relationship they have.
It's the way that Hootie helps, Chelsea says, by showing that no matter what challenges we may be facing separately, we will overcome them together.
Having a friend who just doesn't judge you and wants to hang out with you because you're you is the best.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
Oh, and Anne, we know, is partial to Boston Terriers.
And they are the best. You're amazing.
And people often give Lucy a lot more attention than Anne,
They don't
right?
know who I am. They're like, oh, Lucy, how are you? So I know how she feels. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot. Snowy peaks in Pemberton. Thanks, Joan, for sending this beauty in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
That is stunning. Pemberton's so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
All right, thanks for joining us. Craig Krause will be here tonight at 11:30. Good night.